My name is Scarlett Vance. I'm an Adam assistant at Harleton Construction, 6 years in, making $42K a year. I also work as the company's French translator for an allowance. But no one knows I'm a rare U.S. simultaneous interpreter fluent in French and German. I should never have been just an admin assistant. But my story begins right here, with me sitting at this desk.
Starting this month, all unofficial allowances in AdMem are canceled!
A dozen of people sat in room, but no one said a word. Bennett, our new AdMem director from HQ last month, came in swinging. And the first victim is me.
Scarlett. That $300 monthly translation stipend you've been getting will be cut in this month!
Mr. Sterling, Mr. Whitmer approved that staple 3 years ago because I handle all French documents and foreign client reception.
I know! But you're an admin assistant. Translation isn't in your job, Soaker. No one has ever issued you a formal translation work order in past 6 years, correct?
No, but every French-related matter has always been handled by me.
Exactly. Without a work order, it's not official. If you voluntarily work overtime, the company has no obligation to pay you extra. It's not personal.
Maggie glanced at me, looking like she wanted to say something. I said nothing else. After the meeting, Maggie hurried after me.
Scarlett, don't take it personally. He's fresh meat, have no idea what the situation is.
He does. He checked my profile on his very first day. He is clear to what's the situation. He just wants to use me to establish his authority.
Then what about the French translation work?
He said, it isn't official work, then I won't do it anymore. Maggie's expression was complicated, but she said nothing. Back at my desk, 3 French emails were waiting in my inbox, all confirmations of contract terms from the French side. Before, I'd have translated and sent them to project department in afternoon. This time, I marked them as read and closed the page. If it wasn't official work, I wasn't doing it. At 4 that afternoon, Leo from the project department came running over.
Scarlett, did you see those emails from the French team? The project department is waiting for the translations.
Yes.
Then the translations?
Get Mr. Sterling to approve a work order. Once I have it, I'll translate them. Leo froze.
What? What? Didn't you always just...
That was before. Mr. Bennett said work without a work order isn't official. I'm just an administrative assistant. I can't overstep my authority. Leo stood in front of my desk. He tried to say something, but in the end, he just turned and walked away. At 7 that evening, I was packing up when my phone rang. Maggie had sent me a message.
Martin, our most important client in France, Mr. Martin, is coming at the end of the month for a 3-day business visit. He'll need a French interpreter.
I stared at it for 3 seconds, then slipped my phone back into my pocket. What did that have to do with me? I was just an admin assistant. By next morning, everyone knew the French client was coming. Jean-Paul Martin, CEO of France's MBT Construction Group, had Harmingston's biggest foreign contract, 200 millers. His yearly inspection to U.S. was always handled by me, 6 years in a row. Not a single mistake.
Scarlett! Come here for a moment.
I followed him inside, and he shut the door.
You know Mr. Martin is coming at the end of the month.
I heard.
You'll continue handling the interpreting and reception.
I looked at him. Mr. Sterling, last week you said translation wasn't part of my official work. Bennett frowned.
Exceptional circumstances call for exceptions. This is the group's most important client rule.
Then is my stipulant being reinstated?
The policy was just changed. We can't make an exception for one person. Treat it as overtime this time. We'll give you comp time later.
Comp time. I repeated the words softly and ironically. 6 years. Thousands of translated docs, dozens of foreign client visits, more than 20 business negotiations interpreted in person. And all of that was worth 1 day of comp time. Mr. Bennett, I suggest you hire a professional translation agency.
What do you mean?
My French isn't very good. I'd hate to jeopardize something this important for the group. Bennett's expression changed instantly.
Scarlett, you're really going to play games with me now?
I wouldn't dare. I'm just an admin assistant. Translation isn't part of my job description. You said so yourself. He stared at me for a full 5 seconds.
You may leave now!
I left his office. The moment I sat down, Maggie leaned over. What did he want? He wants me to keep interpreting at the end of the month.
And you?
I refused. Mag nearly dropped her mug.
Are you crazy? That's Mr. Martin. It's a 200 million project.
It's not my problem. He said translation isn't my job.
Then what is he going to do?
He said he'd hire a translation agency. Maggie was silent for a bit.
You know, regular agencies can't handle specialized French interpreting for construction and engineering. You know that.
I know.
Then
I also know he won't reinstate my stipulus. So this isn't my problem anymore. That afternoon, people kept going in and out of Bennett's office. I could hear him on the phone, his voice getting louder and louder.
What do you mean by that? Not one French construction interpreter in the whole city? Money isn't the problem. 200,000 for 3 days? Seriously? What? Next Wednesday's the earliest? Mr. Martin arrives Monday!
I lowered my head and kept organizing the reports. Not my business. Word that Bennett couldn't find an interpreter soon reached Mr. Whitmore. On the third morning, I was summoned to the main conference room. Mr. Whitmore sat at the head of the table, Bennett beside him. The project, business, and external relations departments were all represented. There was also a woman I'd never seen before. She looked 27 or 28, dressed head to toe nicely.
Mr. Martin arrives next Monday. We must settle the interpreting and reception arrangements today.
Bennett,
Tell us where things stand.
Mr. Whitmore, I've called 3 agencies. French construction interpreters are scarce, expensive, and unavailable, but I found a better candidate. Clara has a master's degree from the Sorbonne, studied in France for 3 years, and speaks fluent French. She joined our administration department last month.
Hello, everyone. I spent 3 years in France, speak fluent French, and have handled business interpretation before. You can count on me.
Are you familiar with professional terminology in construction engineering?
Clara froze for a moment.
I can prepare in advance.
Wasn't Scarlett responsible for this before? She's done it for 6 years and knows the French side best.
Mr. Whitmore, Scarlett is administrative assistant. Translation is outside her responsibilities. The previous arrangement wasn't properly standardized. Besides, Clara is formally trained and studied in France. She's more professional than Scarlett.
Scarlett, what do you have to say?
Everyone looked at me. Mr. Whitmore, Mr. Sterling's correct. Translation's not in my scope. I did it for 6 years because the company needed it. Clara has spent 3 years in France. She must be more professional than me. I will follow Mr. Sterling. A flash of satisfaction crossed Bennett's face.
Then, Clara will handle the preparations. Scarlett, assist her to organize your previous translation materials for her.
All right. After the meeting, Clara stopped me in the hallway.
Scarlett, I need your old translation materials. Please hand them me over as soon as possible.
Her tone was polite, but there was a sense of superiorities in her eyes. I'll get them to you this afternoon.
Scarlett, don't take it personally. Mr. Sterling just thought it was too much for you to handle translation, so he brought me in to share the load.
Do you have a DALF certificate?
A what?
Diplôme approfondi de langage français. Have you passed it?
I graduated from business school. I don't take that exam.
What about DLF?
I do business translation. I don't need...
Clara, do you know what pré-contrôlé means? She said nothing. You'd better prepare carefully. Maggie leaned in when I came back.
Why are you doing? Wouldn't it be better to let her embarrass herself?
I'm not helping her.
Then why tell her about those terms?
I'm letting her know she can't handle this. Maggie froze, then seemed to understand. That afternoon, I gave Clara copies of all 6 years' worth of translation records, glossities, and meeting minutes. I locked the originals back in my drawer. After receiving the materials, Clara spent the entire afternoon on them. Her face grew paler by the minute. 6 years of French construction engineering terminology, plus Mr. Martin's speaking habits. That kind of professional expertise can't be built by memorizing vocabulary. The next morning, Clara came to work with dark circles under her eyes. She slowed as she passed my desk, but said nothing. At 10, Bennett called Clara into his office. The door wasn't fully closed. I caught a few lines.
How's it going?
Mr. Sterling, there are too many technical terms.
You lived in France for 3 years!
But I studied business. Construction engineering is...
Then why did you say you have no problem on French at all?
Clara's voice dropped. I couldn't make out the rest. 10 minutes later, Bennett's door opened. Clara came out with red-rimmed eyes, returned to her desk, and kept studying the stack of documents. At lunch, Maggie gave me another update.
Bennett called 2 more agencies today. One quoted $200K for 3 days. The other said they can't do such business.
He agreed to pay the $200,000?
No. Mr. Whitmore approved a maximum budget of $100,000. Bennett doesn't dare.
Then he's out of options.
There's something else. When Bennett reported to Mr. Whitmore today, he said Clara was perfectly prepared.
My hands stopped in math air a bit. He knows Clara can't do it.
Of course he does. But he can't admit his mistake of pushing you over.
So he'd rather gamble with a $200 million project. Maggie said nothing. That afternoon, Mark from the project department came to see me. Mark was the deputy project manager. He'd worked with the French side for years.
Scarlett, Clara's French can't handle Mr. Martin's inspection and negotiations.
I know.
Could you...
Mark. Bennett assigned Clara this time. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to interfere. Mark grew anxious.
This isn't about interfering. Martin is coming to finalize the technology transfer terms for Phase 2. How is Clara supposed to interpret that?
Go talk to Mr. Sterling.
I did! He said Clara would be fine!
Then she'll be fine. Mark stared at me for a long time, as if he barely recognized me.
You've changed.
I haven't changed. Someone just told me the work I've done for 6 years doesn't count as work. Mark sighed and walked away. I kept doing my report. I'd worked as a part-time translator for 6 years. My only compensation was a $300 monthly translation stipend. Now even that was canceled. If the company refused to be fair, then we'd each look after ourselves. That evening at home, I opened a cabinet and took out a certificate case. Inside were 3 certificates, neatly arranged. A C2 level Advanced German Proficiency Certificate, a C2 level Advanced French Proficiency Diploma, a certified membership credential from the International Association of Conference Interpreters. The French abbreviation is AIIC. Fewer than 50 French interpreters in the entire U.S. held AIIC certification. No one at the company knew about these certificates. No one had ever asked. It was Friday, 3 days before Mr. Martin's arrival. Clara looked worse by the day. Her desk was buried in documents, and her notebook was packed with notes. But her entire approach was wrong. She was only memorizing without understanding. Translation isn't about looking words up in a dictionary. You have to understand the concept before you can render it accurately in conversation. Otherwise, the moment the other person phrases it differently, rote memorization falls apart. That morning, Clara came to see me. Scarlett, could I ask you a question? Go ahead. This term, bacon fibré à ultra haute performance. The material translates it as ultra-high-performance fiber-reinforced concrete. But the dictionary gives high-performance fiber-reinforced cementatious composites. Which one is correct? Both. Then which one should I use? It depends on the context. Use the latter when discussing material properties and the former in construction plans. Mr. Martin usually uses the acronym BFUP. She hurriedly wrote it down in her notebook. And this one, Clara. I cut her off. You need more than terminology. You need to read of Mr. Martin. He's fast, uses slang, even jokes during formal talks. Miss his rhythm and you're done. Then, what am I supposed to do? I suggest you go to Mr. Sterling and report the situation honestly. I can't! She glanced at me. He said if I mess this up, I'll automatically fail my year-end performance review. I said nothing. Clara stood there for a moment, then finally turned and left. At 3 that afternoon, the office calm was shattered. The French side sent the official letter confirming Mr. Martin's itinerary. Bennett handed it to Clara to translate. An hour later, Clara submitted her translation. Half an hour after that, Bennett called her into his office. This time, the door was shut tight. But I still heard him slam his hand on the desk.
You translated resication as a resolution clause? It's a termination clause!
I'm sorry, Mr. Sterling.
And this guarantee décenneur. You translated it as a 10-year warranty? It's a 10-year liability guarantee. You don't even understand the legal concept?
When Clara came out, her eyes were bright red. As she passed my desk, she suddenly stopped. Scarlett, did you read that letter? Yes. The French secretary sent it to the shared inbox. Then you knew I'd translate it wrong? I looked up at her. That letter is in legal French, totally different from everyday business French. Not something they teach at the Sorbonne. She clenched her hands until her knuckles turned white. You did this on purpose. Clara, remember one thing. There are no shortcuts in this profession. It depends on how long you stay in France, or whether you could speak French. She bit her lip and walked away silently. Maggie had heard the whole thing from nearby. Scarlett, don't you think that was a little harsh? I wasn't being harsh. I know exactly what she's going through. 6 years ago, I was also so nervous that I didn't sleep all night. Then why? The difference is, before I ever stepped into that room, I spent 4 years earning every certification I could. Maggie fell silent. At 8 that evening, I received a text from an unfamiliar number. It was from Sophia, Mr. Martin's liaison. Mr. Martin wants you to know he's looking forward toward seeing you. He loved that French place you picked last time. Can you book it again? I looked at the message and smiled. For 6 years, every time Mr. Martin came, I took him to that French restaurant on his final night. He still remembered. I shook my head, didn't reply. On Saturday, Clara came in voluntarily to work overtime. She asked whether anyone could help her sort out the terminology in the technical addendix in department group chat. No one replied. The project department didn't know French. External relations only spoke English. In administration, no one except Clara and me had ever touched the French materials. I stayed home all day, cleaning, cooking, and reading. My phone rang 3 times. The first call was Maggie, saying Bennett had exploded in his office and berated Clara for half an hour. The second was Mark, asking whether I truly wouldn't consider going back to help. The third was Sophia. Mr. Martin's itinerary changed, and she asked about airport pickup. I didn't reply. On Sunday morning, Bennett sent a notice to the entire department. The notice said CEO Martin arrives at 7. Clara meets him in formal wear and a French welcome letter. At the end, he specifically noted that Scarlett did not need to attend. Maggie called me almost immediately, her voice full of worry.
Scarlett, Bennett is dead set on keeping you out of sight.
Whatever.
But if Mr. Martin arrives and doesn't see you, won't there be a problem?
There will.
What kind of problem?
He'll ask where I am.
And then?
Then we'll see how Bennett talks his way out of it. At 8:30 that night, I was watching TV at home when my phone started vibrating nonstop. The company group chat had exploded. Maggie sent 5 voice messages in a row.
Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Clara caused a disaster at the airport. The first thing Mr. Martin asked in French after landing was, "Where's Scarlett?" Clara didn't understand him at all.
Bienvenue aux États-Unis.
She answered, "Bienvenue aux États-Unis." Mr. Martin's face fell immediately. Bennett made Clara read the French welcome letter.
Forcément. No.
She froze in 3 sentences. Mr. Martin's assistant switched to English and asked, "Where is the interpreter your company used before?" Bennett said you were on vacation. On vacation! Mr. Martin didn't say a word. He just got into the car.
I listened to every voice message, then put down my phone. A food documentary was playing on TV. It was about French cuisine, and it happened to feature several of Mr. Martin's favorite dishes. My phone rang again. This time, it was Bennett. I didn't answer. He called again. I still didn't answer. On the 3rd attempt, he sent me a WhatsApp message.
Scarlett, you must attend tomorrow to business meeting. This is a work assignment.
I sent only one reply. Mr. Sterling, please issue a formal work order. The other side went silent for a long time.
You'll get one.
I turned off my phone and went to take a shower. For the first time in 6 years, someone was issuing me a work order. At 7 Monday morning, I arrived at the office to find a printed work order on my desk. Work assignment: assist French interpreter. Support Clara in providing interpretation and reception services during MBP Group CEO Martin's business visit. The assignment said assist French interpreter. Clara was still the lead interpreter. I picked up the work order, read it twice, and placed it in a folder. At 8, Bennett called a meeting.
Mr. Martin and his relocation will have a tour in company at 9:30 this morning. Clara will serve as lead interpreter. Scarlett will assist her. Remember, Clara is the lead. Scarlett speaks only when Clara asks for help. Is that clear?
Clear.
Don't mention your past translation work to Mr. Martin today. He probably doesn't remember anyway.
I said nothing. At 9, Mr. Martin's motorcade arrived at the company. MBT Group had sent 6 people this time, led by Jean-Paul Martin. He was in his 50s, wearing a bespoke suit. I stood in the back row of the welcoming party. Clara stood at the very front. Her makeup was immaculate, but it couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes. Mr. Whitmore stepped forward warmly to shake his hand. Mr. Martin returned the handshake politely. Then his gaze passed Clara, Bennett, and everyone in front, and landed on me. His polite smile vanished, replaced by genuine, heartfelt delight. He released Mr. Whitford's hand and walked straight toward me.
Scarlett!
Everyone froze. Bennett's face shifted from pale to livid. Mr. Martin came up to me and, following French custom, kissed me once on each cheek.
Cher ami, tu me manques.
Holding my hand, he turned to Mr. Whitmore and launched into a long stream of French. Clara stood beside him, completely lost. She didn't understand a single word. I understood every word. He said that for 6 years, every time he came, Mrs. Scarlett had been the one to receive him. He said I'm his most trusted partner in America, and that he had been deeply disappointed not to see me at the airport yesterday. Everyone's gaze moved back and forth between Clara and me. Bennett's face went completely rizig. Mr. Whitmore couldn't understand French, but he could read Mr. Martin's attitude.
Scarlett, what did Mr. Martin say?
I glanced at Bennett. He gave the slightest shake of his head. Mr. Martin said he's very pleased to visit Harvingstown Construction and appreciates the company's warm welcome. Mr. Martin glanced at me. He understood some English. He knew I hadn't translated him truthfully, but he said nothing. He only smiled. The tour officially began. Clara walked beside Mr. Martin, holding a presentation script prepared in advance. She read from it word for word. After 2 minutes, Mr. Martin interrupted her and asked a question in French.
Pour les joints de connexion de ces éléments préfabriqués, utilisez-vous des connexions humides ou des connexions sèches? Quelle est leur classification sismique?
Clara looked at him. Her lips moved twice, but no words came out. She hadn't understood. She couldn't keep up with the technical context or process questions and answers fast enough. The entire group fell into dead silence. Mr. Wiltmore looked from Clara to Bennett and back again. Bennett was sweating and visibly nervous. I said nothing. My work order said I was there to assist. Clara hadn't asked for help. I had no standing to interrupt. The silence lasted about 10 seconds. Then Sophia, Mr. Martin's assistant, spoke softly. Perhaps we could ask Miss Scarlett to answer?
Scarlett, you take this one.
He's asking about the type of connection joints used for the precast components and their seismic performance. Monsieur Martin, notre système utilise une connexion ibérique mode sèche avec un niveau de résistance sismique de classe 8. La Snertionest connexion dalle a été validée par des essais de chargement cyclique conformant à normes chinoises et européennes.